Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. Today is Friday, June 22nd, 2018. Today I'm going to recap the NBA draft from last night and give out early grades. Go over the FIFA results from yesterday, look ahead to today a little bit and tomorrow morning. Baseball, go over all the games from yesterday and look ahead to today's slate of games. I'm going to do my last NHL mock draft and make predictions for tonight's NHL draft as well. All right, number one overall, as expected, DeAndre Ayton to the Phoenix Suns. I'm going to give this pick an A. DeAndre Ayton is going to be a good NBA player, could be a franchise-changing center, and I just like the fit in Phoenix. They had no center long-term until last night, so they get an A for getting the consensus best prospect. Sacramento gets an A+ for drafting Marvin Bagley. I think Bagley's the best player in the draft. He's going to average a double-double. He's going to be in the conversation for Rookie of the Year. Now the question for Sacramento is, what do they do with Willie Cauley-Stein? That's remained to be seen. The Dallas Mavericks traded up from number 5 to number 3 to get Luka Doncic. That's an A+ for Dallas. They had to give up their 2019 first-round pick to do so. That's okay. But it's lottery protected. I believe 1 through 5 is the protection. That's worth giving up for Doncic. I think he has a chance to be a franchise-changing player. So that's an A+ for the Dallas Mavericks. Memphis takes Jaren Jackson Jr. 4th overall. Let's give that a B+. I'm not the biggest Jaren Jackson Jr. fan. I've made that clear on my podcast. He's somebody that's a good rim protector and can defend and rebound as well, but I'm not a huge fan. He was a big riser. He had a really good freshman year, and that put himself in this spot, as I mentioned several times on this podcast. So my grade for the Grizzlies is a B+. Atlanta trades down from number 3 to number 5 to draft Trae Young. I'm going to give Atlanta a B+. They trade down and collect the Mavs first-round pick. I think that was a great job by Atlanta for doing that, getting Trae Young and the pick. But my issue with Young is that I don't think he was the best point guard in the draft. A lot of people look at him and think he's the next Stephen Curry. But I can't fault Atlanta for this because Orlando really wanted Trae Young. So it was smart of them to trade back knowing that Dallas wanted to trade up for Doncic. So I'm going to give the Hawks a B+ just because they added the extra pick in the deal. Orlando takes Mo Bamba 6. I'm giving them a B+ as well. I like Bamba. I'm not as high as him as other people are. And he could protect the rim. He can rebound. And my question with him is, does he have any offensive game? The Chicago Bulls take Wendell Carter Jr. with the 7th overall pick. They get an A-. They could have taken Michael Porter Jr. here, but they decided to pass along with Orlando and Atlanta and Memphis. Can't fault Dallas because they went up and got Luka Doncic. Wendell Carter reminds me a lot of Al Horford. And I think the Bulls got themselves a nice player with the 7th overall pick. He can rebound, he can pass. He's a solid defender. He knows what he's doing. So that's what makes me remind him of Al Horford. The Cavaliers take Colin Sexton with the 8th overall pick. I'm going to give them an A. That was a very good pick. They could have gone Michael Porter Jr., but again, they pass. The Cavs had a need at the point guard position. I like Sexton. I'm very high on him. So the Cavaliers get an A+. The New York Knicks at 9 take Kevin Knox. My grade for them is a B+. Knox is perhaps the safest bet at this spot. Although, even if anybody picked up Porter, I would have given them a higher grade despite his lower back surgery. As I said, Knox was a safer bet. He's 18 years old. He has a ton of upside. And the Knicks' 3 youngest assets are all 22 and younger. Kristaps Porzingis is 22. Frankie Ntilikina is 19. And Knox is 18. So I'm not saying it's a bad pick by the Knicks, but other than the Knicks, I think anybody could have picked Michael Porter Jr. And I'll get to where Michael Porter Jr. was selected in a moment. The Phoenix Suns traded up from 16 to 10 to select Mikal Bridges. I'm going to give the Suns an A here. I think this was an outstanding pick and move up by the Suns. They had to give up their 2021 Miami pick. That is going to be a really good pick because Miami has a lot of aging guys on their roster and bad contracts. So that was a great pick that Phoenix gave up to Philly. And that could be an asset down the road for Philly that they can flip to potentially go out and get Kawhi Leonard. I'll get to Philly's side of the deal in a second. But Bridges, 3-and-D wing, and Phoenix coming out of this draft with DeAndre Ayton and Mikal Bridges is an A alone. The Clippers trade up from 12 to 11 to get Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The Clippers, we get a B here. They like Alexander, but they could have gotten better players at that spot. There's players that I had ahead of Alexander. He's going to be a solid player, I guess. But the Clippers could have got something better. Charlotte trades back from 11 to 12 and takes Miles Bridges. Solid pick for Charlotte, and we give them a B+. I had Bridges mocked to Charlotte for the longest time, and here we are. They trade down to get him. So that's just very funny. The Clippers with their own pick at 13 take Jerome Robinson from Boston College. They could have gone with somebody better, I think. I'm going to give them a C+. That's a little bit harsh of a grade. They could have gotten him at 15, or if they traded down to 16. Because I know Milwaukee really liked him at 17. Maybe Philly at 16, or Phoenix in the proposed trade that Philly made. But Clippers get 2 solid players with their 2 picks. And there you go. 14, Denver Nuggets, Michael Porter Jr., A+. Add Porter to the core with Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. That's a great foundation. That should be a playoff team in the West. They are going to sign Nikola Jokic to a long-term contract. They probably will bring back Will Barton. They should bring back Will Barton. He's joining a great team, Porter, or a very good team, I should say. It's great on paper with the 3 names I mentioned and Barton possibly returning. You have Gary Harris there. So, and Paul Millsap, too. So that is a great team on paper that should be competing for a top 4 spot in the West next year. Some teams poised to take a step back. The Wizards take Troy Brown with the 15th pick. I'll give that pick a B. I like Troy Brown. He's drawn comparisons to Andre Iguodala. So maybe that won't be a bad pick after all. I know they really liked Zaire Smith. They really liked Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Miles Bridges. But all those guys were picked ahead of where the Wizards picked. Lonnie Walker was still available. But they decided to pass. 16, the Phoenix Suns, who traded this pick to Philadelphia last night. Zaire Smith. Let's give that pick a B+. I like Smith. He's somebody who wasn't thought out to be anything when he got to college and was just tremendous on Texas Tech that put him in this spot. I like Philly for him. Probably will come off the bench unless they use him as a trade asset. 17, the Milwaukee Bucks. Dante DiVincenzo, I'm going to give that pick a B+. Solid pick by Milwaukee. DiVincenzo can do a lot of things. He had a breakout year at Villanova. Wasn't even a starter for them. He came off the bench. But solid selection there by Milwaukee. San Antonio Spurs take Lonnie Walker. I'm giving that pick an A. That's a steal at that spot. He's coming off the injury, which obviously hurt his draft stock. So, yet another classic Spurs steal pick for one of the better franchises in the league. Now they have to figure out this Kawhi Leonard situation. We'll get to that another day. The Hawks take Kevin Huerter with the 19th pick from Maryland. I'm giving that pick a B. There's some players that I liked better than Huerter on the board at that spot. He's somebody that's a really good shooter and a good defender as well. That's what the league's about, 3-and-D guys nowadays. And the Hawks got themselves a solid player, but I think there are better guys on the board, so I'm going to give them a B. And the other thing is that Huerter just got surgery, which I thought was going to hurt his draft stock, but it certainly did not that much. 20, Minnesota. Josh Okogie from Georgia Tech. His stock was skyrocketing within the last week. I'm going to give the pick a B. I like Okogie. He's a good three-point shooter. Could be a good bench player for Tom Thibodeau next year. Utah Jazz, Grayson Allen. I'm giving the pick a C. There were better players on the board than Grayson Allen. He's a bad reputation. He trips over guys. And I'm not saying he's a bad player, but there were better players on the board for Utah to pick than Grayson Allen. Chicago Bulls, Chandler Hutchinson. I'm giving this pick an A. A very solid pick by Chicago. This was a consensus pick by so many people in their mock drafts, including mine. I got my bold prediction correct for the Bulls about them taking Hutchinson. I think he's going to be a solid player, whether that's off the bench or even as a starter. So a very solid selection for the Chicago Bulls. And I think they had a good night last night. The Indiana Pacers, Aaron Holiday. I'm giving that pick an A-. I like Holiday. The Pacers have a long-term need at point guard, so that's a very solid fit. Holiday could start for them down the road. The Portland Trail Blazers take Anfernee Simmons. Risky pick there. I'm going to give it a C+. I think there were better players on the board for Portland to take than Simmons. He's international. Kind of reminds me of Frank Ntilikina from the Knicks, sort of. But we'll see there. The Lakers take Moritz Wagner from Michigan. I'm giving that pick a B+. He is first-round talent. A lot of people thought he'd be a second-round pick, although I had him mocked in the first round a couple times. Very good pick for the Lakers. He'll probably come off the bench for them, unless if they start him at center, depending on what they do this summer. Maybe they use him as a trade asset, but overall solid pick for the purple and gold. The Sixers, Landry Shamet, the point guard from Wichita State. I'm going to give that a B-. I like Shamet, but there are better players on the board. Boston Celtics, with the 27th pick, take Robert Williams. I'm giving that an A+. That was a steal. He should have been picked between 12 and 15, but he drops all the way to 27. Great job by Danny Ainge picking up somebody that I think could be a starter in the NBA someday with the 27th pick. Golden State takes Jacob Evans. I'm giving that pick an A. He's somebody that I think is going to come off the bench for them next year. He's a excellent defender, but he needs to become a better shooter. Maybe teaming up with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson can help him a little bit. Brooklyn Nets from Toronto. There's rumors that Brooklyn was going to trade this pick last night, but they didn't. Zanon Musa. I like Musa. I'm giving the pick a B. He is motivated to play in the league. He's a good defender. He's a good shooter. So I'm going to give the pick a B. 30, the Hawks take Amari Spellman from Villanova. I think there are some better players on the board. I'm going to give the pick a C+. I like Spellman. He's somebody I think could have been an early second-round pick, but he goes late in the first. I think he's going to be somebody that comes off the bench for the Hawks. Second round, Suns, Elliot Kobo. Solid pick. I'm not going to give grades to the second round. Memphis Grizzlies, I'm going to give that one an A. Javon Carter. Dallas Mavs, Jalen Brunson, I give that an A too. If I had to give the Suns a Kobo pick, I'd say a B+. I think that might be a steal because I think a Kobo could have been a first rounder. Devontae Graham, not really a big fan. Melvin Frazier, I like. Solid pick, Orlando. Mitchell Robinson of Louisiana, or from Louisiana, picked by the Knicks last night. Skipped college. I think he should have been a first-round pick, Robinson. So I think the Knicks got themselves a steal at 36. I'd give that pick an A. Gary Trent Jr., drafted by Sacramento. His draft rights traded to Portland. I think Trent Jr. could be solid. Kyrie Thomas, Philly drafted him. His rights were traded to Detroit. I think that's a solid pick. Isaac Bonga, not really a fan of that pick for the Lakers. Rodion Kurzik, Brooklyn, another draft and stats project. Jared Vanderbilt, Orlando selected him. I think he could be a solid player. Detroit got themselves a steal with Bruce Brown Jr. Orlando, Justin Jackson, not a solid or not a bad selection. I think that's a solid selection that Denver traded to Orlando. Wizards, Isuf Sanan, not a fan of that pick. Brooklyn Nets, Hamidou Diallo, someone who underachieved at Kentucky. Good risk for Brooklyn in the second round. Houston, DeAnthony Melton, that's a steal for the Rockets. But I think that pick might have been traded to Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken. Lakers, Sviatoslav Milyachuk from Kansas. He's somebody that shot a lot of threes for Kansas. Not a bad pick for the Lakers. Can come off the bench for them next year. Minnesota Timberwolves, Keita Bates-Diop. That's a steal. He should have been a first-round pick. He's going to come off the bench and have an impact for the Timberwolves. The Spurs, Chimezi Metu. I think another classic Spurs pick there. Indiana, Alzy Johnson. Don't mind that pick either. One of the more underrated guys in the draft. New Orleans Pelicans, Tony Carr of Penn State can come off the bench for them. Houston takes Vincent Edwards that Utah traded to Houston, I should say. That's a nice one. Oklahoma City Thunder, Devon Hall from Georgia or from Virginia. That's a nice pick. Dallas takes Shake Milton from SMU, and they traded his rights to Philly. Okay. Charlotte Hornets, Arnoldus Kulboka. Not a fan of that pick. 76ers, Ray Spalding. Trades his rights to Dallas. I think he may have an impact on the Mavs next year. Oklahoma City Thunder, Kevin Hervey. Not a huge Kevin Hervey fan. Denver Nuggets, Thomas Welsh from UCLA. I think that's an okay pick. Suns, George King. Philadelphia takes Kostas Antetokounmpo. Trade his rights to Dallas. Not a bad risk for Dallas there either. That's it. Discussing the NBA draft. Now I'm going to talk about FIFA for a little bit. Go over some of yesterday's results and look ahead to today and tomorrow. Denmark and Australia ended up in a 1-1 draw. Christian Eriksen gave Denmark a 1-0 lead in the 7th minute. Then Milo Jedinek ties it up on a penalty kick for Australia at 1 apiece. And that ends up in a draw for Group C. And the other Group C match from yesterday, France defeated Peru 1-0 on a goal by Kylian Mbappe in the 34th minute. Croatia upset Argentina in Group D play 3-0. Great win for Croatia. Big 3 points. Ante Ribic in the 53rd minute, 1-0. Luka Modric in the 80th minute, 2-0. And Ivan Rakitic in extra time in the 91st minute gave Croatia a 3-0 lead for good as they advance to the knockout stage. Argentina isn't done. They have one more game that they absolutely have to have. Brazil defeated Costa Rica 2-0 this morning. Both goals in extra time. Felipe Coutinho in extra time, 1-0 Brazil, and Neymar in extra time, 2-0 Brazil. Your final. I took Nigeria on yesterday's podcast. That game's going to start at 11 o'clock on Fox. 2 o'clock on Fox, you have Serbia and Switzerland. Give me Serbia. Tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock on Fox, Belgium and Tunisia. Give me Belgium there as they earn a big 3 points. I'll pick South Korea, Mexico, and Germany, Sweden on tomorrow's podcast. Baseball, a couple interesting results from yesterday that I want to get to. The Yankees defeated the Mariners 4-3 as they improved to 50-22. Seattle drops to 46-29. Luis Severino improves to 11-2. James Paxton drops to 6-2. Aroldis Chapman gets his 22nd save of the year. No, I'm not going over scoring because I am low on time. The Red Sox defeated the Twins 9-2 as they improved to 50-26. Minnesota drops to 33-38. Rick Porcello improves to 9-3. Kyle Gibson drops to 2-5. The Rockies defeated the Mets 6-4 as they improved to 37-38. The Mets dropped to 31-41. Kyle Freeland improves to 7-6. Steven Matz drops to 3-5. Jake McGee gets his first save of the year. The Nationals defeated the Orioles 4-2 as they improved to 40-33. Baltimore drops to 21-52. Calvin Herrera improves to 1-0. His first win as a National. Michael Givens drops to 0-4. Sean Doolittle gets his 20th save of the year. The Diamondbacks defeated the Pirates 9-3 as they improved to 41-33. The Pirates dropped to 36-38. Zach Godley improves to 8-5. Chad Cole drops to 5-5. The Reds defeated the Cubs 6-2 as they improved to 29-45. Chicago drops to 42-30. Matt Harvey improves to 2-5. Kyle Hendricks drops to 5-7. Jared Hughes gets his 5th save of the year. The Brewers defeated the Cardinals 11-3 as they improved to 44-30. St. Louis drops to 38-35. Brent Sutter improves to 8-4. Carlos Martinez drops to 3-4. The Angels defeated the Blue Jays 8-5 as they improved to 40-35. Toronto drops to 34-40. Noe Ramirez improves to 3-3. John Axford drops to 1-1. Justin Anderson gets his 3rd save of the year. The Giants defeated the Padres 3-0 as they improved to 38-38. San Diego drops to 34-43. Madison Bumgarner improves to 1-2. Tyson Ross drops to 5-5. Mark Melancon gets his 1st save of the year as he returns from injury. Athletics White Sox rained out yesterday. Makeup date this afternoon as those two teams will have a doubleheader today, with the first game being at 4 o'clock. Sean Manaea against James Shields. Phillies Nationals at 7 o'clock tonight. Zach Eflin and Tanner Roark. Diamondbacks Pirates. Patrick Corbin and Ivan Nova. Mariners Red Sox. Wade LeBlanc and Stephen Wright. Yankees Rays. CC Sabathia and Ryan Stanek. Stanek's going to be the Rays opener. Tonight, Tigers Indians. Mike Fiers and Shane Bieber. Cubs Reds, Jose Quintana and Luis Castillo. Dodgers Mets. Alex Wood and Zach Wheeler. 7:30 Orioles Braves. Alex Cobb and Sean Newcomb. 8 o'clock Cardinals Brewers. Jack Flaherty and Junior Guerrera. Rangers Twins. Mike Minor and Fernando Romero. Royals Astros. Danny Duffy and Dallas Keuchel. Game 2 of the doubleheader between the Athletics and the White Sox. Chris Bassett and Lucas Giolito. 8:30 Marlins Rockies, Wayne Chen and John Gray. Blue Jays Angels, 10 o'clock. You have Marco Estrada and Andrew Heaney. 10:15 Padres Giants, Clayton Richard and Chris Stratton. My last NHL mock draft of the year, with the draft being tonight. I want to get this done quick before any trades happen. 1 Buffalo Sabres, Rasmus Dahlin. Dahlin, the best player in the draft, and it might not be close. He could be a franchise-changing defenseman, very Victor Hedman-like. Going to play alongside Rasmus Ristolainen, and gets to play on the same team as Jack Eichel. 2 Carolina Hurricanes, Andrei Sheshnikov, the wing. The Canes have a good D. They improved their scoring here with Sheshnikov. He has an elite scoring touch, but can also play a power forward game. 30 Montreal Canadiens, Jesperi Kotkaniemi, the center. As expected for a 17-year-old, Kotkaniemi needs to grow and develop. He's an awesome skater and a very good offensive player, but needs to grow his defensive positioning. 4 Ottawa Senators, Quinn Hughes, the defenseman. The Sens have a ton of needs, regardless of what they do with Erik Karlsson. Hughes is a very good puck mover and can skate very well. 5 Arizona Coyotes, Philip Zadina, the wing. The Coyotes need more help defensively, but a talent like Zadina would be hard to pass up on here. He's a pure shooter and very talented, and his shot can be used from anywhere in the offensive zone. 6 Detroit Red Wings, Noah Dobson, the defenseman. The Red Wings have a need on defense, and Dobson would be a nice fit. He had a tremendous second half of the year and climbed up draft boards everywhere. 7 Vancouver Canucks, Oliver Wahlstrom, the forward. The Canucks have a bigger need on defense, but Wahlstrom would be tough to pass up on. He has off-the-chart levels of creativity mixed with the high-end shot and vision. 8 Chicago Blackhawks, Brady Tkachuk, the wing. What a steal this would be for the Hawks, who have more of a need on defense. He has a lot of offensive talent and greatly improved his skating as the year went on. 9 New York Rangers, Evan Bouchard, the defenseman. Bouchard would be a solid choice for the Rangers. They have a need on defense. He's one of the smartest defensemen in this draft class. He has great passing abilities that allows him to generate offense in all 3 zones while staying in great position. 10 Edmonton Oilers, Adam Boqvist, the defenseman. The Oilers have a need on defense, and Boqvist would be a nice fit. He's an elite puck-moving defenseman whose stock is trending down heading into draft day. 11 New York Islanders, Barrett Hayton, the center. People think that Hayton is best two-way center in the draft. His production is holding him back. 12 New York Islanders from the Calgary Flames, Ty Smith, the defenseman. Smith fits the Islanders considering they have a need on defense. He's more known for his offensive game rather than his defensive game. 13, the Dallas Stars, Georgi Denisenko. Denisenko projects as a high-end scorer, but needs to be less generous. He is high upside, and his stock is trending up heading into tonight's draft. 14 Philadelphia Flyers from the St. Louis Blues, Saron Noel, the wing. Noel is one of the elite wingers in this year's draft class. He has great hands and a great shot. 15 Florida Panthers, Joel Farabee, the wing. The Panthers take a forward here, and Farabee possesses an elite shot for his age and a gifted skater. 16 Colorado Avalanche, Joe Veleno, the forward. The Avs don't have a lot of needs. Veleno will be hard to pass up on here. He's very smart and versatile. 17 New Jersey Devils, Bode Wild, the defenseman. The Devils have a need on defense, and passing up on a talent like Wild would be hard. Very complete for his age. 18 the Columbus Blue Jackets, Martin Kaut, the wing. Kaut is a pure goal scorer. Very powerful skating abilities that allows him to drive to the net. 19 Philadelphia Flyers, Vitaly Kravtsov, the wing. For Kravtsov's age and level of competition, he plays that. He's very solid at defending. He really needs to grow a little bit as a player as a whole, but he's very good at all phases of the game. 20 Los Angeles Kings, Dominic Bach. The Kings take Bach here, who's been a very fast riser. He can go, I think, as high as 14 to Philly, and he's closer to the league than people think. 20 San Jose Sharks, Rasmus Sedin, the defenseman. What makes Sedin great is his ability to play in all situations, and he thrives in power play, penalty kill, and even strength. 22 Ottawa Senators from the Pittsburgh Penguins, Isaac Lundstrom, the forward. Lundstrom won't blow by anybody with his blinding speed, but he's very talented, and he's versatile as well. 23 Anaheim Ducks, Akil Thomas, the center. Thomas is somebody that can put up points in bunches. His work ethic is very good, with or without the puck, and doesn't take shifts off. 24 Minnesota Wild, Keandre Miller, the defenseman. Miller will be a little bit of a project, but a project worth waiting for. Miller is a defenseman that's young and does not struggle with defensive responsibility. 25 Toronto Maple Leafs, Rasmus Kupari. The Leafs have a bigger need on defense, but Kupari would be a steal at this spot. He's very skilled and has some of the best hands in the draft. 26 New York Rangers from the Boston Bruins, Ryan McLeod, the center. McLeod can create chances everywhere on the ice with his elite skating ability. He can also stick handle through anyone on the ice at any time. 27 Chicago Blackhawks from the Nashville Predators, Ty Dellandrea, the center. Dellandrea is versatile, and he skates very well with the puck on his stick. 28 New York Rangers from the Tampa Bay Lightning, Matthias Samuelsson, the defenseman. There are plenty of talented offensive defensemen this year's draft, but Samuelsson game is taking care of the puck in his own net and shutting down opponents. 29 St. Louis Blues from the Winnipeg Jets, Liam Foudy, the center. Foudy's stock is trending way up heading into tonight's draft. He has crazy athletic genes, and he's somebody that can produce right away. 30 Detroit Red Wings from the Vegas Golden Knights, Jacob Olofsson, the center. Olofsson is good at controlling the puck down low and making plays out of the cycle game. He gets in front of the net and has the hand-eye coordination to tip in pucks and the quickest to pounce on rebounds. 31 Washington Capitals, Jared McIsaac, the defenseman. Due to his great skating talent, McIsaac is able to carry the puck out of the zone and start the offense. He is also able to quickly recover when necessary and does well to get back into position. Now I'm going to do predictions for the NHL draft for every team. I'm going to go by division. I'm going to do it a little bit different. I'm going to start with the Atlantic Division. The Tampa Bay Lightning, I think they're going to find a way to trade back into the first round somehow, but failed to do so because they don't have as many assets as they once did. And I just can't see them trading away the likes of Steven Stamkos or Nikita Kucherov or Braden Point. Boston Bruins get a second round steal somehow. Toronto Maple Leafs, I think they trade back or out of the first round. Florida Panthers, I think they'll select the forward with the 15th pick. Detroit, I think they trade up from the 30th pick somehow. Montreal Canadiens, I'm going to say they end up trading the number 3 pick, whether it's the trade back to number 9 with the Rangers or number 8 with the Blackhawks, but I think the number 3 pick will be traded tonight. Ottawa Senators, I'm going to say Erik Karlsson gets traded tonight to perhaps the Vegas Golden Knights because that's where I predicted he'd go. Buffalo Sabres, I know it's a lock that they're taking Rasmus Dahlin number 1 overall. But I think they trade Ryan O'Reilly tonight somehow. And it'll probably be to the Montreal Canadiens. Metro Division, Washington Capitals, I'm going to say they trade out of the first round. Pittsburgh Penguins, I think they get a steal in the second round like Boston. I think inevitably will. Philadelphia, I think, trades up with 14 and 19 somehow to get into the top 10 to pick one of the better players. The Columbus Blue Jackets, I'm going to say that Artemi Panarin gets traded tonight, whether it be the New Jersey Devils, the New York Rangers possibly. I can see the Islanders doing something like trading 11 and 12 for him to convince John Tavares to stay. But yeah, my prediction for the Columbus Blue Jackets is that Artemi Panarin gets traded tonight. There's so much buzz that they're going to trade him. I think they do it. The New Jersey Devils, I think, are in play for Panarin. It's remained to be seen whether they'll get him or not. but I think somehow they trade the 17th pick, whether that's for Panarin or to move up or to move down. Carolina Hurricanes, I think it's inevitable that they're going to keep the second pick and take Andrei Svechnikov, but my prediction is that they trade Jeff Skinner and end up getting another first-round pick out of it. Maybe it's Devils 17. Maybe it's one of those Rangers picks. Maybe Edmonton 10. But I think they somehow get a second first-round pick thanks to another team acquiring Jeff Skinner. New York Islanders, I think they trade one of, if not both, 11 and 12 to try to improve their team and to convince John Tavares to stay. The Rangers, I think they'll trade one of their 3 picks. It's a matter of which one, not if any of them, in my opinion. I know there's a lot of chatter that they want to stay committed to this rebuild, but this is the New York Rangers, and I am not underestimating them by any stretch. Maybe they trade down from 9. Maybe they trade up from 9. Maybe they package Kevin Hayes in 9 to move up to 3. We'll see. It's going to be a very interesting night for the Blue Shirts. Western Conference Central Division, Nashville Predators. I think they find a way to trade back into the first round somehow. I think their window is closing. I think they missed a golden opportunity this year. And I think that's going to be courtesy of one of their players on their roster. The Winnipeg Jets. I'm going to say that they tried to trade back into the first round but failed to do so. The Minnesota Wild. I think they select a defenseman with the 24th pick tonight. I think they'll keep the 24th pick and take a defenseman. The Colorado Avalanche. I think they get a great player at 16 that somebody passes up on, whether that's Joe Veleno or Rasmus Kupari or somebody in that nature. Maybe Barrett Hayton. Who knows? St. Louis Blues. I think they trade up from 29 somehow. That's a team that I have a feeling is going to do something tonight. I'm going to say that's a team that trades up. Maybe they include an asset from their current team to do it. Or do they go the other way and take somebody else's asset and trade down? But I'm going to say that the 29th pick is traded, whether that's up or down. Originally I called up, but I'm trying to convince myself that they could trade down too. The Dallas Stars, I'm going to say they keep their pick. Although they have a need on defense, I'm going to say they draft a center with the 13th pick tonight. The Chicago Blackhawks, I think they trade one of their picks. I think they're going to try to win and win now and keep their, or they think they have a Stanley Cup window that's wide open, but I think their window is closed. I think it's time to rebuild in Chicago. They should be doing what the Rangers are doing right now, but they're not. But I'm going to say they're going to try to get better by trading one of those picks for proven NHL commodities. Pacific Division, the Vegas Golden Knights, I think they trade for Erik Karlsson tonight. And they are going to be the buzz team of the draft as they trade a lot of assets to go get Ottawa's Erik Karlsson. The Anaheim Ducks, I'm going to say they keep the 23rd pick and draft a forward. The San Jose Sharks, I think they'll keep the 21st pick and draft a defenseman. LA, I think, will trade their pick, whether that's up or down. Calgary Flames, I think they trade Dougie Hamilton tonight for a first-round pick. It could very well be the Blackhawks, the Rangers, maybe even New Jersey. We'll see. The Edmonton Oilers, I'm going to say they trade the number 10 pick and Milan Lucic to go out and get a proven NHL defenseman. And it'll probably be Dougie Hamilton. The Vancouver Canucks will land one of the proven forwards that will fall to them, whether that's Oliver Wahlstrom or Jesperi Kotkaniemi, Brady Tkachuk, or Philip Zadina. And the Arizona Coyotes, I think they'll draft a defenseman with the 5th overall pick, although there's going to be plenty of talented forwards sitting there for them. All right, that's it for the podcast. I'll be back tomorrow recapping the first round of the NHL draft, all the baseball, the FIFA, anything else that goes on. I hope you guys